everyone. We're going to get started for our webinar now, as it's 12 o'clock noon. Thank you everyone so much for joining our virtual series. The audience for our session today is military members and their families, so thank you for joining us. My name is Carly Robb Jackson, and I am a research and policy manager with Military Family Services. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Angela Raza from the Family Information Line. So she will be speaking to you as well about the Family Information Line, or FIL as we may call it, which is a fantastic service that's available for you and your families. As we begin our session today, I wanted to note that the session is being recorded, so please feel free to keep your camera off. We will be posting the webinar recording on our Healthy Relationships website as well in the coming weeks, and we will share the link to that too. So as we start, we wanted to firstly recognize that Ottawa is located on the unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation, and we extend our respect to all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples for their valuable past and present contributions to this land. And we also recognize and respect the cultural diversity that First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people bring to the CAF as well. As I mentioned, we are recording the webinar and we'll be posting it shortly in our Healthy Relationships website. I'm just going to mute folks just so that we don't have background noise, and if you can just kindly mute yourself as well if you aren't speaking, just so that we can hear each other well. So in our session today, we'll be exploring the intimate relationships continuum. And this continuum, it's really relevant for any type of intimate or romantic relationship is what it's focused on. So whether you're in a same-sex or a heterosexual couple, this is for you. And the aim of the continuum is really to help you reflect on where your relationship stands overall across the different behaviors. And it's really intended to be a tool to support you in having open discussions with your partner, your spouse, whoever it may be, around your relationship and how you can work together really to improve that relationship, recognizing that it's on an ongoing basis and we can always learn from one another. And as I mentioned, we'll also be learning about the Family Information Line and additional programs and services available to support you and your relationships. And I'll turn it over to my colleague, Angela, to cover the next piece.
Okay, so I will talk a little about the intimate relationships continuum. So as said in the title, all relationships exist on a continuum ranging from healthy to unhealthy, with abusive at the extreme end. Relationships are not stationary. Rather, they evolve and change depending on different situations or stressors. A couple may naturally move back and forth between the healthy and struggling zones. If relationship issues are in the unhealthy zones, they might need external support, for example, therapy, to help them get better. It's also important to add that unhealthy relationships can quickly escalate to an abusive situation. So I'm going to talk briefly about the different zones that exist in a relationship. You can be in the healthy zone, which means we're going to observe equality, respect, trust, communication, and safety. You can also be in the struggling zones, for example, pressure, dishonesty, lack of communication. There's also the unhealthy zones. In the unhealthy zone, we observe manipulation, guilt, and shame, and also isolation. In the abusive zone, there's a lot of control, volatility, and violence. So as mentioned before, a couple may go back and forth between different zones, for example, healthy to struggling and go back to healthy zone. So that's why we said there's certain couples that might need therapy to help them go back to the healthy zone.
Okay, so that provides a bit of an overview of the continuum. And again, the intention of this is really to support couples to be able to look at their relationship and to understand where they may fall on these different zones, recognizing that the relationships can change with different types of stressors or dynamics as well. So now to dive a little bit deeper into the different colored zones. Firstly, here is the healthy zone or the green zone. So in this zone, typically what you may see is that the relationship really supports each partner's balance, well-being, and sense of self. And there's joy and peace and predictability in the relationship. And both partners feel a sense of self-esteem as well. Also in the green zone, partners would have a similar feelings about their relationship. So they would feel that they're on the same page and that there's positive and open communication as well. Now, we still would say that even if you're in the green zone, there are different programs and services that really can help you maintain and improve personal and communication skills. So we can always continue to work on ourselves and our relationships, even within a healthy relationships. And so we've posted here a few examples of programs and services that could be useful for you. One listed here is from Health Promotion, and it is the Stress Take Charge program, which is really designed to teach participants how to manage stress through self-awareness, changing behaviors, and skill building. And also as part of this program, participants explore strategies that they already use and are also encouraged to learn and practice new strategies identified during the course, which is really aiming to help improve their well-being as well. And we also have Family Information Line, or FIL, listed here. We'll learn more about this service, but I wanted to flag that it is a confidential, personal, bilingual French and English and free service, which offers information, support, referrals, reassurance, as well as crisis management to the broader military community as well. And here on this slide, you can see some of the different characteristics for the green zone or the healthy zone. I would invite you to look at these. We also have a dedicated tip sheet around the continuum, which is on our Healthy Relationships website, and we'll share the link to that. But you can see here some of the different characteristics. So how a relationship may feel, how partners may speak to one another, how they treat each other, how they handle decisions together, such as financial, how their broader families may get along, and ways that they show anger. And here, as an example, is really talking about problems, taking a break when emotions get too high. I also wanted to mention that we have a tip sheet, which we had developed with the YWCA around managing anger within relationships and different strategies to use, recognizing that we all feel anger at times and how to best manage that within your relationship. So the next zone, as Angela showed us on the continuum, is the yellow zone, which is the struggling zone. And here we have a few defining characteristics of that. So the relationship changes really from a place of relative stability and predictability to a place where there's a bit more tension and perhaps uncertainty as well. We also see that there are growing gaps between each partner's feelings, needs, and goals for the relationship itself. And that if action is not taken, it can progress to that orange or red zone as well. So here, similarly, there are different programs and services that can help partners restore balance to their relationship, to recognize and appreciate and really align each other's feelings, needs, goals, and also improve interpersonal and communication skills. So here we have listed Family Information Line, as well as two others, health promotion programs. So the first one is Managing Angry Moments, and this course helps participants to understand how to identify situations in their daily lives that can cause anger and teaches them skills to safely really address these situations. And the next one is Intercom. So intercom is focused on really communication being at the heart of any personal relationship, and that this communication or lack thereof can sometimes lead to a conflict. So in the intercom course, participants really gain knowledge and life skills to improve communication in their everyday lives, and that's the focus of it there. In terms of the relationship characteristics, again, for the struggling zone, you can look at different pieces here. For example, how you may talk to one another. There could be some ignoring of one another or their opinions, some perhaps cold or distant behavior. Showing anger could be through yelling or silent treatment, but again, not in a constructive way. There may be tense moments in your broader social network and friends. You may see some withdrawing from social situations or starting to question perhaps one another, where they are, their whereabouts, those sorts of pieces as an example. So when we move to the next zone, this is where, going back to the continuum that Angela had shown us, this is the unhealthy zone or the orange zone. So here we start to see that the relationship affects and disrupts a partner's balance, well-being, and sense of self. There may be isolation, guilt, or shame. There could be some unpredictability within the relationship, and the partners may feel a low sense of self-esteem as well. And the relationship may follow repeated cycles of, for example, escalation and outbursts and forgiveness, and then sort of that honeymoon period as well. And it's important really to recognize here in this zone that relationship issues may quickly escalate to the red zone or to an abusive situation. So concerns around physical safety are critical here. So again, there are a range of programs and services that really can help relationships that are in this spot, help partners that are here, and really to prevent the relationship from becoming abusive, really to help shift those potentially unhealthy dynamics, to really get some emotional support or gain new tools and perspectives to manage difficulties as well. And so here you can see some additional programs. So of course, Family Information Line again. We've also included Support Our Troops here, which for those of you who may not be as familiar, it is intended really to help members as well as veterans and their families overcome a range of extraordinary challenges that can be a result of military service. And this can include emergency financial assistance, again, with that safety piece in mind. And we've also included here the CAF chaplains, or padres as they may be called. And this group is really responsible for helping to foster spiritual, religious, and pastoral care of CAF members and their families. And it's really regardless of one's religious affiliation, practice, or belief. So it's quite inclusive, I would say, as well. And here, when again we look at the characteristics of what you may be experiencing in this orange zone, I'd again invite you to look more deeply here, but some examples of how the relationship may feel insecure, maybe hypervigilant, walking on eggshells, constantly aware in terms of how the partners may talk to one another. There could be some harsh comments or some mocking, potentially some isolation or avoidance here as well. Another piece around how anger could be shown in the relationship. There may be indirect violence, there may be threatening violence, so some risk there. As an example, an important piece we've heard of before is around financial issues and how those decisions are made. So as an example here in this zone, there may be some restricted or controlled spending. There may be some limiting or not sharing of financial information, so different accounts, for example, or blocking access to financial resources as well. And so here at this point, we come to the red zone or the abusive zone. And again, in this zone, the most important element, again, is one's physical safety. So we see for the red zone that within the relationship, there may be emotional, verbal, sexual, physical, financial, or other types of social harm and violence occurring, which is known broadly as intimate partner violence. And here it's important really to underscore that intimate partner violence is not only the physical violence, but it can encompass all of these other examples where there's harm within a relationship. So in this zone, the relationship, it's not, it's more unhealthy and unsafe. And again, importance is really to protect the physical safety of the partners before addressing the relationship issue. So really to ensure that there's firstly the physical safety element before getting into those broader relationship issues. And so again, though, here, even if you or a couple may find themselves in this zone, there are different programs and services that can help break this isolation that may be felt and help to really revive sort of self-esteem and increase a sense of self-efficacy, and as well as provide access to specialized resources. And this could be shelters, it could be legal resources or financial advice. It could be developing a safety plan. And we have a resource on our website, again, on the healthy relationships about what is a safety plan, how to go about developing one, and what it entails. And so here, example programs or services that can support you or your partner are, again, Family Information Line. We've included here the CAF or MFRC, which is Military Family Resource Center social worker. So someone who's really skilled in this area and can provide that personalized support. We also have, again, support our troops, recognizing that piece around potential emergency financial assistance. And then we've included, of course, the military or local police or authorities, depending where an individual is located as well. And so here, when we explore the different relationship characteristics in the red zone, there are some examples here. So the relationship may feel unsafe, or there may be fear in terms of how the partners may communicate to one another. There may be some intimidation or belittling or name calling. In terms of how they treat one another, there can be some manipulation or hurtfulness, and an important piece around how they may be intimate with one another. It may not be consensual. There may be some violence or some force there. And again, here, the importance really of maintaining that physical safety and turning to local authorities when there's fear for an individual's safety. And now Angela is going to talk to us a little bit more about Family Information Line as well.
Yes, so Military Family Services is proud to provide a family information line that is personal, confidential, bilingual, and also free. As Carly mentioned in her introduction, I'm a counselor at Family Information Line, so we're a team of trained professionals who are here to offer support, referrals, reassurance, and crisis management to the military community, meaning Canadian Armed Forces member, veterans, and their families. I would also like to add that we also offer our services to the extended family members. So if you have a grandfather who's veteran, then you can contact us at any time. You're all eligible for our services. As a counselor at FIL, we understand the military lifestyle. It means we have the resources and we are here to support you. And I will also like to repeat again that our services are always free, so don't hesitate to call us. In our services, what does it look like during COVID-19? At the Family Information Line, we give a lot of information. It can be about different subjects. For example, key resources on coronavirus, or key resources and information to the defense team, like links to the defense team, also how to access future reimbursements to support emergency family care like childcare or elder care, etc. We also provide tips for self-care and managing through videos and poster and social media posts. So in our post, it includes how to talk to parents and kids during crisis. Like I said before, tips for self-care. So how can we take care of ourselves during the pandemic? There's also parents calling us to get help on how to handle teenagers talking back to them. And we also help children to restore their sense of safety. Besides information, we do a lot of referrals for family. So there's a lot of families that call us to have guidance about counseling. There's also a lot of families that going through financial difficulties. Like Carlene mentioned before, there's the resource support our troops that can help for emergency financial support. But there's also CISIP Financial, that is a really great resource if you need financial support. We also do direct referral to local emergency childcare staff and padres. Carly mentioned the CAF chaplain, so it includes padres. If you feel like one of your family member might be in a dangerous situation, we can give you contact if info of the local padre, and also because we want to make sure that everyone is safe during the pandemic. So we can also do social support and facilitate a discussion forum on 3 social media channels. On Facebook, we have a group called My Voice. Another one is called Support to Parents, and also Support to Families with Special Needs. So in total, we have approximately 3,000 families that are talking to each other on the different groups so they can help each other during the pandemic. And as a last service, we offer crisis support. So it includes grounding and calming techniques. It also includes problem solving, active listening, and supportive counseling. So by supportive counseling, we mean virtual counseling, which involve bookable weekly sessions with the same counselor. So, as mentioned before, we help families assess and plan for emergencies or immediate distress. We offer a lot of diverse support, and we also help to stabilize the situation for families, like emergency childcare, financial support, etc. We talked about the family information line, but if you're the kind of person who likes to write things down, don't hesitate to email us at fil-lif@cfmws.com, and the counselor will reply to you either in English or French. So, like I said in the last slide, we offer bookable sessions for virtual counseling. This means that members of your military family can book sessions and schedule phone or video calls with the same trusted counselor. Some families have found this bookable session really helpful because some of them don't live close to an MFRC, or some of them wanted to remain anonymous. A couple of families had a hard time finding help outside of business hours, and because our counselors are available from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern time, these families were really grateful about the family information line services. And it might be also really helpful for the families that couldn't get help in their first language also. So about the reflections on healthy relationship, effective communication is essential to the development and maintenance of a healthy relationship. Through it, we create the characteristic of healthy relationship. For example, trust, openness, and intimacy. It enables us to resolve conflicts, solve problems, and make decisions that contribute to the strength of relationship. It takes time, energy, and care to develop and maintain healthy relationship. But in all relationship, people experience times of difficulty, and this can be compounded by military challenges of absences, relocation, and risk of injury or death, as well as major changes, including transitions. There are a range of supports to help strengthen your relationship. You can connect with your CAF or MFRC social worker or local MFRC to learn about programs and services that can support you and your partner. You can check out our Healthy Relationships website that features videos of military couples sharing their experiences and a range of tip sheets. You can also explore our virtual MFS and MFRC programming at the links showed in the actual slide on the screen. So just to conclude, there's a lot of resource that we can give you, either if you call that family information line or you go on the links that we put on the slides. But I'm gonna let Carly just conclude our webinar.
Thanks, Angela. And I put the link to the Healthy Relationships website in the chat. So for folks, you can access it there, as well as for the virtual programming that she mentioned as well. So the link is there. So again, our intention today was really to introduce the Intimate Relationships Continuum and flag some of the different programs and services that are available for military members and their families, really to underscore the importance of reaching out for support or reaching out with questions about support and looking at the continuum across and the different characteristics. We can see how even if we're in the green zone or the yellow zone, there are preventative pieces we can look at around managing communication and decision making and sharing feelings within a relationship, and that it's really important to reach out, and that relationships do take work, as Angela mentioned, and we can all continuously to improve on them. So as I mentioned, we have our Healthy Relationships website, which we've put the link in. There are a range of different tip sheets there available for you on a variety of topics. We also have the stories of military members and their families themselves talking about their relationship issues and what they've overcome. We have a few new ones that have just been posted last week and this week that specifically talk about experiences of absences and deployments and how they manage that in their relationship. And I also wanted to mention that we have other webinars posted on our site, so some including with teenagers, how to talk with teenagers and how to have healthy relationships with them. And that was in partnership with Kids Help Phone. And we have a few with the Ottawa Couple and Family Institute around how to maintain a positive and healthy dynamic at the intimate relationship level and the broader family level. We do have a couple of minutes. If anyone has a question or was looking for a specific resource, please feel free to either use the chat, or you can also raise your hand if you would like to share anything or to ask a question. And then I would just encourage you to feel free to check out our other webinars, and also perhaps to share this one with someone that you think it may be relevant for or of interest to as well. So I'll just wait to see if there's any comments or questions. And if not, we would, again, just thank you for your time today for joining us. Wait a moment to see. Angela, was there anything further you wanted to underscore around FIL or any of the services?
For me, I think it was complete, but if anyone has more question, I'm glad to respond to it.
Okay, we can wait a moment to see. And I just see some comments here that it was a helpful presentation and a very kind of actual topic and effective, useful. And again, I hope that folks do look at the other webinars we have and perhaps share them as resources. Oh, perhaps Angela, you could answer this one around, there was a question about the extended defense community, if that includes D&D and NPF for resources. I would say I think in general, yes, that does. When we're talking about family information line, there probably are specific requirements for specific programs, but Angela, do you want to answer that more generally for FIL?
I mean, like you said, at Family Information Line, we don't have specific criteria. So extended family means you can also be friends with a military member. So we're really not strict. So I don't know if the question was about FIL or more general question, but if it's for FIL, it includes the NDN and PF.
Great, thank you. And I would also just flag that FIL is a great resource. So if you do have questions, even to call them to ask what different programs or services you or your family may be eligible for as well. They're great information for that. Okay, well, if there's nothing further, again, thank you for your time, and we will post the webinar shortly. We're also hosting it again on Thursday in French at the same time at 12 o'clock Ottawa. If you know anyone who would want to sign up, they can do so through our site as well. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.